What's up, you internet weebs? I'm Kid Yuki, the anime jukebox. This is Top OP, the show where I review my favorite opening songs of the season, and whoo boy, spring 2019. So I gotta be honest, I actually didn't watch a whole lot of anime this season, so I can't speak to the quality of the series that came out, but as far as the opening songs, pretty underwhelming on average. I guess I got spoiled, you know, last season was my first time doing this show, so it was my first time listening to every OP in the season, and it really opened my eyes to all these great songs that I wouldn't have found otherwise because I wasn't watching the anime they were from. You know, things like Boogie Pop and Kimono Friends and whatever the hell Bermuda Triangle is. Even Fairy Tail. I don't really watch Fairy Tail, and Down by Law was my number 3 song of the season. I guess it made me think that every season was going to have a bunch of amazing hidden gems, but this season, just so many generic throwaway songs, so many mediocre uses of the same formulas that we hear over and over again, and that kind of thing happens every season, but I guess I just expected a few more songs to really jump out at me from all the clutter. Even continuing shows that had great OPs in the past kind of sucked it up this time around. I mean, Attack on Titan has a bunch of great OPs, but this season? One Punch Man? Well, okay, everything about One Punch Man Season 2 sucks compared to Season 1, but after having such a fist-pumping instant classic of a first OP, this new one? What happened, Jam Project? Did you know the new season was going to be worse, so you made the song follow suit? I mean, even my number 1 pick from last season, Dororo, this season has an opening by Asian Kung Fu Generation, who I love, which makes it all the more painful to say that this new song is just okay. It's not bad, it just doesn't do nearly as good of a job of standing out, especially when you compare it to something like Riri from Erased or Haruka Kanata from Naruto. These are great songs that they've done. Alright, maybe I'm being too dramatic. It's not that there were no good songs this season. There were some standouts. Most of them didn't hit me quite as hard as some of the ones from last season, but enough of my bitching. There are solid OPs to be heard here, so let's just get into it. As usual, everything in this video is just my opinion, and also, rankings will only be based on the quality of the songs themselves. The quality of an anime or a song's relationship to an anime will not be a factor in grading. Kicking things off, we have Gurenge from Demon Slayer, an epic fantasy theme, which is certainly nothing new for Lisa, but it suits her, so I'm not complaining. This is definitely one of Lisa's heavier openings, lots of chugging, overdriven guitars and slamming drums, but her voice is so powerful that it feels right at home. Actually, if I'm being totally honest, this song probably made it to the spot mostly on the strength of Lisa's voice and the pure energy of the instrumentation, especially in the riff and chorus sections. I mean, this thing rocks. It doesn't really break the mold in any way. Like, if you've seen a few action-y fantasy anime before, you've basically heard this OP. The chord progression has been done a million times, the melody is nothing really to write home about. I also think that build-up into the chorus was misplaced. The guitars and drums going dun, dun, dun on the quarter notes just feels kind of awkward, and I think it messes with the flow of the song a little too much. Overall, not the best song, but Gurenge by Lisa rocks when it needs to, and it definitely gets the job done. Number 9 comes from a series that I didn't even know was still going. Detective Conan? How many years has that guy been stuck in the body of a little kid? But apparently not only has this thing been going, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently the newest Detective Conan movie beat Avengers Endgame at the box office in Japan, because apparently Japan just doesn't give a fuck. Anyway, to get back on topic, Barairo no Jinsei is a kind of 70s, kind of surfy, poppy sort of song. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's decently catchy, especially in the chorus. Like the Demon Slayer OP, I don't think this one is great, but it was different enough from all the other cookie-cutter OPs this season to make it onto the list. To me, the biggest flaw with this song is the mixing. The problem here is similar to that of the Kaguya-sama OP from last season, which a lot of people were asking me about after watching my Winter 2019 video. That is to say, the vocals are way too loud in the mix compared to the instruments. In the verses, it's not as noticeable, but for both songs, you can feel that the chorus loses a lot of power because of this lack of balance. This is also something I've repeatedly complained about in the song Lifelight from Smash Ultimate. It's one thing to want the singer's voice to be the focus of the song, but when you turn all the instruments so low, it legitimately starts to sound like karaoke. And no, I'm not weeb enough to say karaoke, fight me. Okay, I think I got off topic with this one. Yeah, kinda catchy, mix isn't great. Mike Raki's vocals are solid. The horn part is kinda nice, though I wish they'd use real horns. Overall, decent song that mainly stands out because it has a different feel from pretty much everything else this season. This Bokuben opening is a good example of taking a formula used fairly often, in this case upbeat idol rock, and executing every part of it well. The instruments bring some great energy, the melody for the most part is pretty catchy, the vocals are balanced well. When it comes to songs with an ensemble of voice actors and actresses singing, there's always a risk of the transition from one singer to the next sounding jarring, and Seishun Seminar doesn't fall into this trap whatsoever. In fact, everything is balanced really well. The vocals are balanced well with each other, the instruments are balanced well with each other, the vocals are balanced well with the instruments. It feels like the person who mixed this song really cared because you can hear the individual instruments pretty well, especially when they have little accented parts like the drum fills, the show-tuney piano, the jazzy walking bass in the pre-chorus, the horns, the rhythmic guitars, the strings, the organ, the bells in the chorus. There are a lot of layers here, and each instrument does a very good job of serving its purpose. Across the board, this song is solid. It isn't the most creative from a writing or arrangement perspective, but it's definitely good. I guess if I had to give a reason for why this song isn't higher on the list, it's that it feels pretty safe. Well executed, but safe nonetheless. Kotae from Shometsu Toshi is similar to the Demon Slayer OP in that it's a pretty familiar sounding action-y adventure kind of theme song, but I would posit that this one is a little bit better put together. While it doesn't have the explosive energy of the Demon Slayer OP, it does have a consistently better vocal melody, some cool guitar work, and what, at least to me, is a more cohesive structure. Each part of the song seems to flow into each other better. The broken down acoustic guitar verse section is a nice touch. I also love that there was time left over at the end for a cool guitar solo. The guitarist in me just can't help but love that. The mix is decent though, not amazing. It does seem to be a little too compressed, by which I mean there isn't a lot of variance in volume level, and this can often rob a song of emotional power and make it feel a little bland. Also, the vocal melody is still not perfect. The pre-chorus melody is especially lacking. Finally, Mao Abe's performance is good. It didn't blow my mind, and maybe part of that was because of how compressed everything felt, but it definitely got the job done. Overall, solid song. Not great, not bad, just solid. Anyone who knows me and my music probably expected this song to be on here from the second they heard the acoustic guitar. Kiss Me from Carole and Tuesday is a pretty cool song and a stylistic breath of fresh air with its soulful singer-songwriter vibes and R&B flavors. The blend of acoustic guitar and watery synths at the beginning, the groovy drums, the vocal performances, everything comes together to deliver a song that's both smooth and relaxed while also being kind of danceable and having a decent amount of emotional impact. Both Nai and Selena really did an excellent job. I don't think the verse melody is the best in the world, but that chorus is pure bliss when it hits. The mix is pretty good too. The drums are a little on the loud side, but it feels intentional for the sake of pushing the groove through, and to that end, I'd say it was effective. There's some cool electronic production choices throughout as well, cool sounds and synth tones here and there. I think if the verse melody was a little more solid, this thing would easily be in the top 3, but it's still a very good song that feels both classic and familiar while having some modern twists. Alright, here's a fun one. The Karakuri Circus OP makes no effort to hide its electronic elements. It starts with a glitched out vocal line that sounds like something you might hear in a Vocaloid song, then jumps straight into this very catchy upbeat verse section. The ever-present synths and tight chorus effect on the vocals make for a computerized, futuristic sort of vibe, but there are also some cool rhythmic guitars strewn about. The main thing that caught my attention in this song, other than the tightly written melodies, was Lozarena's voice. It's so unique. My best description, I guess, would be like a Japanese Halsey. Take a listen, you'll probably hear what I'm talking about. My main criticisms of this song have to do with the chorus. I think the instrumentation is a little too plain here. Everything is just sort of chugging along, not doing anything too interesting, which maybe is supposed to contrast with the other sections, but I wish it was just a bit more lively. Also, the drums are mixed too high. I understand wanting to emphasize the beat with that 4 on the floor kick drum pattern, but it definitely overshadows everything else. On a few different sound systems I've used to listen to the song, the chorus ends up actually sounding pretty empty because of how it's mixed. This is another one that would probably be in the top 3 if this one little section was fixed up, but as it stands, it's still pretty good. I'm trying to keep this show at about a PG-13, so if you see a handful of the same short clips over and over again, it's only because this show is not giving me much to work with. Okay, this is the second time in a row that an OP from a super fan-servicey anime has made my top 5. Except, unlike the Domestic Girlfriend opening from last season, the explicit content of "Why the hell are you here, teacher?" bleeds way more into its opening song. Hell, the title of the song itself refers to curvy bodies, which are starting to, I guess, become more fashionable in Japan or something like that. But moving past that, there's a legitimately good song here. Seriously. The instrumental palette provides a very different feel for most of the songs this season. The melody is super catchy all the way through. Sumire Uesaka gives an awesome vocal performance as usual. There's a good amount of dynamics here, from the whispers and bells in the beginning to the rolling snare drum and harmonized vocals and strings and lead guitar that all seem to dance around to the spacey verse, to the driving beat in the later part of the verse, and then back to the rolling drums in the chorus. I actually thought the rolling drums in the chorus was pretty interesting. It's not something that you hear too often. Maybe in like Tonight Tonight by Smashing Pumpkins? I don't know. I also really like the arpeggiated synths in the pre-chorus. The mix is great as well. I mean, if you didn't know what the words meant, you'd probably think the song was really cute and not ridiculously sexual. Or maybe you would, I don't know. I guess I need to critique the song itself. I guess I'm not crazy about the boomy kick drum sound. Yeah, that might be it. If you can look past the lyrics, or if they don't bother you, or if you don't know what they mean, this is a really legitimately good song. I think the only thing that puts 3 more ahead of it is just my own personal enjoyment. Alright, this song sounds like it could have been 2 songs. The first 10 seconds or so are so spacey and eerily beautiful. I wish it could go on forever. The almost ghostly vocals, the cascading synths, the echoey guitars. Maybe they do more with this section in the full version. Should I have looked that up before making this video? No, shut up. I'm reviewing TV-size versions. Get off my back. Anyway, despite the fact that the opening section of this song doesn't go on forever, it's okay because what follows is a very well done, upbeat, piano-y, poppy rock song. Sonoko Inoue's voice is so captivating. I don't know if it has more to do with how they EQ'd her vocal track, but her voice has a warmth that you don't hear in most Japanese female vocalists, especially in anime songs. It helps that all the melodies in this song are great. The song has a good amount of energy while also being somewhat smooth and comfy and maybe a little sentimental feeling. The shimmery synths in the background are a nice touch. Maybe the mix could be a little less vocal heavy so some of the other instruments could shine through a bit more. Also, I do feel a little weird that this song is only a minute instead of the usual minute and a half, but you know what? I don't care. This thing is so pretty and fun all the way through. It's 60 seconds of straight awesome. Alright, let's see what I have written down for this new Fruits Basket OP. Feels. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Okay, but really, this is such a beautiful ballad. Whether or not that's your cup of tea, you have to acknowledge the power of these feels. I mean, Beverly's vocal performance, my god. The chorus, are you kidding me? I had a couple of listens where I was seriously on the verge of tearing up. The beautiful piano, the strings, the vocal melodies are 10-10 all the way through. Are the instrumentals innovative and exciting? No, but that doesn't matter. You know what matters? Feels. Just let yourself feel these feels. There's no stopping them. These are super concentrated weapons-grade feels.
And once you're done feeling those feels, get ready to move on to my #1 pick of the season.
My #1 song is another minute-long song, which, are there that many minute-long anime OPs? Anyway, okay, let me level with you for a second. When I was putting this list together, I knew the top 3 would be this one, the Fruits Basket OP, and the Senryu Shoujo OP, but figuring out the order was nearly impossible. I thought the Fruits Basket OP was just about perfect, but I didn't really want a slow ballad to be my number 1 pick, mostly because, while it is very well made, I couldn't really see myself listening to it over and over. I need to be in the right mindset to listen to that kind of song and really enjoy it, whereas the Senryu Shoujo and Aochan songs are both upbeat and fun, and I could listen to either just about any time, so one of them was going to be number 1, and one of them was going to be number 3. Now, deciding which was which, both are a minute long, both are very tightly written and produced, both have unique vocalists whose voices have some nice warmth that you don't hear very often, both have excellent vocal melodies and vocal performances all the way through. So when I say minute details, I mean I think Wonderful Wonder's melody is ever so slightly stronger than Kotonoha no Omoi. I think Wonderful Wonder's mixing is ever so slightly better. You can hear each instrument and vocal part a little more clearly, which is aided by the fact that Wonderful Wonder is also a little bit more stripped back in its instrumentation. Kotonoha no Omoi is lush and full of layers and layers of beautiful instrumentation, which is great, it really is, but I think I enjoy the restraint and clarity of the instrumentation in Wonderful Wonder just a tiny bit more. I also think the two sort of disparate parts of Kotonoha no Omoi end up hurting it overall, despite how much I love both of them. Since it's only a minute-long song, by the time you get into the main part, you barely have any time to enjoy it before it's over. In this way, Wonderful Wonder wins out because you get to groove out to the lighthearted beats and sweet melodies all the way through. So, yeah, great vocals, great production, great mix, tight writing. I love that when the vocals come in, there are drums and a synth part, but no guitar or bass to clearly establish the key of the song. It gives the synth and vocals at the beginning this sort of floaty feel before they touch down with the introduction of bass and guitar. I really only have one complaint, and that is the low octave vocal part, the and the chorus. It makes the vocals sound almost demonic, and I don't think it contributes well to the overall feel of the song. It's a very small nitpick of a complaint. Wonderful Wonder by Edgar Sullivan is a great song, and even if it only beat out the Senryu Shoujo OP by a nose, it's still a well-deserved number 1 spot for spring 2019.
Hey, Future Yuki here. My cold's all better. So that's it. That's my list. What did you think? Was my order all wrong? Were there some great songs I somehow missed? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed the video, do the usual thing. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Check out some previous videos, which are all around my head. My Patreon and all my other social media accounts are linked down below in the doobly-doo. Yeah, I think that's it. See you next season for another edition of Top OP. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Kid Yuki. You've been awesome. And until next time, keep anime rockin'.